return to this group and to practicing together. So the practice that we're doing today is a variation of what Arlo was talking about in terms of the capacity to have some sense of hope, some sense of beauty, some sense of agency, even while situations are difficult, situations are problematic. The study that Arlo mentioned had to do with catastrophe, and I'm talking about many hardships that happen many times throughout the day. I believe the dynamic is the same. The extent to which we can continue to be connected to something bigger than ourselves that is beautiful, that is heartening, that is encouraging, to that extent, we are better able to manage ourselves when in the midst of difficulty. So the practice today is a conglomeration, a mélange of things that I learned as a monk in Burma around loving kindness, plus what I've learned through somatic experience therapy. So, Laurel, I'm going to mute you because I hear a lot of sound through your system. So I'm just going to go to mute. You're welcome to talk another time, but you'll have to unmute yourself. So here's the sense of developing this practice. I mentioned that it's connected to the Theravadan Buddhism tradition that I sort of grew up with meditating in Burma, and what I've learned through instinctive meditation, through that course, but also through this guy, the guy who wrote this book, Rick Hansen. He wrote another book called Buddha's Brain, the neuroscience of wisdom, love, and happiness. And it was probably the first book that really had a big impact on me coming back from Burma, that was looking at how the brain itself changes through experience. And this book is one that I'm not finished with yet, but I'm bringing it forward so that you can see that Rick Hansen is, I want you to see his name and know that he's part of the formulation of my thinking and my practices. Specifically, I'm talking now about a practice of savoring the good, and the orientation that this is helpful to your brain to stay with something that you consider good or beautiful or powerful or encouraging or heartening, to stay with that at a minimum of 14 seconds. You might go, what, 14 seconds? Well, yeah, it takes that long for the brain to begin to recognize that what is being focused on is important, and it's starting to develop the pathways of strengthening that connection through the brain, such that tomorrow, being attentive and appreciative of that which is good, beautiful, encouraging, heartening, is a little bit easier, because today you strengthen the neural connections. Okay. So now I want to talk about a few principles that show up in the instinctive meditation orientation. And that is, you're welcome to move. You don't need to be seated or standing or lying down or walking. Any of those postures are fine. And as you go through this practice, you can change your posture at any time. There's an element of listening to and trusting your instincts in these meditations. In the beginning, your instinct might be to move, to shift your posture, to be more comfortable, to scratch your nose, to look to see who came through the door. That's fine. You do that. And as your practice progresses, you might notice the impulse to scratch your nose, to shift your posture, to look at who came through the door. And you might realize, something more important for me right now is to stay tuned into the practice. So the same impulse that showed up before and you followed it, it might show up and you realize, not going to follow that impulse, going to stay here, focused on, in this case, for today's practice, the sensations of love in my body. Another aspect, well, that's sufficient for now in terms of giving a perspective on how instinctive meditation is an aspect of what we're doing today and the kind of permission that it allows for us. The kind of permission that allows for you to participate by observing instead of doing the whole practice. If for any reason you think, oh, I don't want to do this today, or I can't do this today, that's okay. You can still connect to the practice through the process of observation. And if you get into the practice and you realize, okay, I'm done, this is as far as I want to go, or I can't go further, or I'm just going to stay here and bathe in this good feeling, that's also fine. That's also fine. This is part of inviting you to trust your instincts and to have a sense of permission around how to be both in your body, but also in this practice. So to that end, whether your eyes are open or closed, that's your choice. The posture you choose at the beginning, also your choice. Okay, so my plan for today is to begin a practice by settling in what I call a soft landing, and then ask you to think. Once you're finished thinking, then we'll launch into the depth of the practice where the orientation towards body sensations is the most important part of the practice. Then we'll come out of that. We'll have a form of integration and discussion, and that will be today's session. Okay. Are there any questions before we begin? It's hard for me to see everybody. Actually, hang on, I'm going to shift my view so it's easier to see. No questions, no hands up. Okay, then let's carry on. So come into a posture that's as comfortable as you can manage for now, knowing that later it can change. And I'm going to bring your attention to your location. So I invite you to open your eyes if they're closed and just look around you to familiarize yourself and remind yourself of your location. And when you look over your shoulder and behind you, it helps innervate your vagus nerve, which helps connect you to the rest and digest option of your nervous system. So that's connecting to location. One more connection to location. What can you hear? Now, some of you with earbuds may not be able to hear very much other than my voice or your voice or our voices. But take a moment to under or get a sense of the soundscape of where you are. Okay. Yeah. Now we're going to tune into how the skin senses the environment, particularly the air on your skin. Get a sense of its warmth or coolness, and a sense of the moisture level of the skin. Yeah, okay. Now we're going to go inside the body in terms of noticing what's happening with the interior landscape. So to facilitate this, would you put both hands on your belly, if you feel comfortable doing so, and let the hands bring attention into the belly area. It might make sense to soften your belly. You might be able to notice your belly rising and falling with each breath. So pause here with your attention inside your belly and notice if there's any particular sensation that might be painful or loud, or there might be a general sense of relaxation and ease. Both are okay. Both are just the way it is right now. Nice. Okay. Now bring your hands to your heart area. Notice how it feels inside your chest. And imagine that these hands are bringing tender, encouraging touch to the area around your heart. So the space between your heart and your hands, that's included. And the space behind your heart, also included. And the right and left side of your heart. Okay. So let your hands go down to wherever they'll be comfortable. And this is where I'd like you to think. I want you to bring to mind someone or some pet that you love, that it's easy to feel warm and safe and open in their presence. This could be somebody from your world today, but it could also be somebody or a pet from before. They may or may not be alive. And they may or may not be known to you personally. Okay, so here's what I want us to do. Bring that person to mind and notice how it feels around your heart now. The feeling around your heart, the sensations around your heart, that's what we're going to be focusing on. And if you find your attention being drawn somewhere else, sooner or later the attention will draw will come back. The meditation will create a kind of draw for your attention to the sensations around your heart or to the mental image of this being that makes you happy. Either way, that's the reintroduction, the reconnection to the practice. For now, bring your hands back to your heart area. In that tender touch, bring to mind that person or being who helps you to feel happy and open and safe. And let this tenderness be real for you. The sister of tenderness is vulnerability. So it can be a little awkward to do this. You don't have to go any further than where you've gone already. But if it's interesting, if there's curiosity to continue exploring, decide whether leaving your hands around your heart is helpful. And if not, you can lower them again. But if it's okay to allow the hands to stay there, as you bring this being to mind, now I'm going to talk about some sensations that you might notice in the area around your heart. I'm going to talk, or I'm going to list some sensations around your heart. Warmth and expansion. The area around your heart includes the area in front of your heart and behind your heart. Warmth and expansion. A sense of flow, like your heart is full and gently overflowing. So there's a quality of movement, a sense of flow. Yeah. Check with yourself if there's any color associated with this sensation, this collection of sensations around your heart. There might be a sense of support. And connected to that sense of support, a sense of freedom from contraction. Let your awareness go to the area behind your heart too. Exploring to the extent that there's support there. Support behind your heart. If it helps, bring that person or that being or another being to mind to help kindle and foster these feelings of love and the sensations that go with it. And if keeping someone in mind is not necessary, then ride the sensations of expansion and warmth and flow. Let them emerge by themselves. And you ride them with your awareness. So I'm going to list some other words that may be associated with what you're feeling in your body. Gratitude, friendliness, goodwill, benevolence, the intention to benefit. Good job, good job. We're going to stay here just a little bit longer. We're reconnecting or staying connected to the sensations around the heart. Sparking those sensations if needed by bringing people or beings to mind that help us to feel happy, open, safe, encouraged. There's a few more words that I'm going to list that may feel like they're associated with the sensations of openness and warmth, generosity, and kindness. Pro-social. Like there's a willingness to be social, not that you're compelled out of a need, but there's an initiatory quality that's willing to go outside and connect and help in any way you can. The front of the heart and the back of the heart. The left side and the right side. Savoring the goodness that's already here. And for 30 more seconds. Okay. That will do for now. Letting your hands be wherever they're comfortable. And without ending the meditation yet, move your body in any way that helps it to be comfortable. If your eyes are closed, you might continue with them closed. If your eyes are open, that continues to work for you, that's fine. Consider closing them just for a few seconds and reconnect with your inner landscape. No, it's not just the area around your heart, but the whole body from the inside, as much as you can, extending awareness all the way to the fingertips and to the toes and to the top of your head and the front of your face. And now experiment with extending awareness a little bit beyond your skin. And bringing to this bigger world this inner sense of kindness, generosity, a kind of inner happiness that arises with love. Yeah. Okay, well done. So draw in a long, slow inhalation and bring your hands to Anjali before your heart. At the top of that inhalation, sip in a little more air. Imagine all your cells feeling in them what your heart felt. So big, so expansive, so warm. Then kiss your fingertips as a way of creating blessings, opening your hands like a prayer book, and then blowing those kisses out to the world, wishes of kindness and well-being. And when you're ready, let your hands go to where they'll be comfortable, flutter your eyelids open, reconnect with location without losing that open-heartedness. Reconnecting with location. Yeah. Okay. So the invitation is to bring this generosity to the rest of your day so that it's not locked in to something that happens only when we meditate, but it is part of how we are in the world and part of how we respond to what happens in our world, whether it's an exterior thing like a wildfire burning down our house and our town, or it's a moment of pain from anger or jealousy or impatience. This inner openness doesn't condemn what's happening out there or in here, but it creates a breadth that is able to be with what's happening in a way that's responsive, not reactive, in a way that's already connected to some of the most beautiful things you know and have experienced so far.